Islam is only 2% of the population in Australia, and yes, you'd be hard pressed to find an individual, if you said the word Muslim or Islam, that doesn't have an opinion about it. And that's because the role, I guess, of media and the role of, there's no incentive to question what we know. If I was somebody who simply just believed what I saw in the media and representations about Islam, I'd be fearing myself. I'd be beside myself.
Of course.
Like I'd be going, no, oh my God, they're here. And the difficulty with that conversation, often the symbol of that fear is women, always, because they are more visible. They're the softer target. So we go, Islam, hijabi. And these are subconscious associations we make. So for me, in advocating for women and in advocating, I guess, for a better world, a world that can celebrate and respect our differences, not fear them, then I take on board a perspective that is founded by an understanding of the place and space of women across the globe. It doesn't matter who they are. So when we look at cultures, I always look at that culture from a women's perspective. And is Islam going to take over the world? That is the most ridiculous proposition I've ever heard. And what is Islam? When you ask people, let me ask you, what is Islam to you? This thing that is unsettling you, making you anxious. And I mean, what is it? Is it the fact that somebody wears something on their head? Is it that they turn to a wall and pray? What is it that's really making people afraid? And when you ask people, and that's why we have Speed Date a Muslim, these events that engage back our capacity to be human, to reason, to connect back up with our own humanity, you realise that it has no basis. It's become this kind of anxious, unsettled thing that is just sort of out there.
It's like you said though, it's a massive lack of education. But it's what people have heard through the media is just what they're living by.
But then why
have any other and they're not going to seek other information.
No. And I understand that because we're bombarded with so much information. There's no incentive for you to go,
you're right.
Oh, I want to go and find out if this is in fact really true. Why would you? Because you're constantly going, oh my God, I've got to feed the kids, I've got to go to school, I've got to pay my mortgage. Why would you? And so I think I'm founded in everything we do on this idea that human beings are decent, and in particular Australian human beings. And if you offer up those occasions for us to express our decency, we almost always do it without fail. Especially in Australia, we kind of take the piss a little bit out of the newly arrived. It's in jest, we mean well. And I do believe that Australians in particular, because I grew up here and I know this to be true, that we are generous. We're a generous people, that we gave per capita to the tsunami more than anyone else in the world, that we have this tendency to go for the underdog, we support the underdog. So, you know, the newly arrived, the Italians, the Greeks, the Vietnamese, we tend to, you know, initially just kind of rough them up a little bit until they settle in. Where it's different when it comes to Islam, though, and where it's actually, in all seriousness, I think a more dangerous phenomenon, is that Muslims are not newly arrived, and secondly, that this is a global phenomenon. It's not unique and specific to Australia. It's a phenomenon that is global around ill-informed conversations about Islam. And I think these conversations are necessary and they should be had, and people shouldn't shy away from them. Conversations around ISIS, what it means, who are they, what it means for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And in fact, I will tell you, ISIS would sooner kill me than touch you. The reality is...
Why do you say that?
Well, because I undermine everything they stand for. I'm somebody who embodies a message of Islam that denounces their behaviour as monstrous male behaviour and so far removed from anything to do with the faith. So... And this is where I think if you re-engage a people's capacity to understand, like for me, ISIS or Hitler, they're part of the same conversation. That was a monstrous expression of human beings' behaviour when they dealt with conflict and in conflict situations. And men have done this throughout history. Let's not make this about Islam, because it's not. And the minute you do, you give it legitimacy. You give it legitimacy of almost 1.8 billion people. No, It is so far removed from anything we identify with.
And when you talk about it like this, though,
it's
just insane.
Absolutely. Yet, why isn't there the willingness to talk about it like this? And then why isn't there the willingness to understand the role and place of women who are choosing to identify as Muslim in a Western world?